So we have an interesting problem that we are going to be working on today. We're going to be talking about security for a Minecraft education multiplayer world. Security for Minecraft education is usually pretty good. If I try to host my world for other friends that I want to host on, I don't have to worry about sharing the join code in this video because you cannot join my world unless you're on the same tenant as I am. That means that everything after the @ sign in your email is the same. So the other person would put in a join code, and if I have any bad actors, I can use the kick command to kick them off my world and then shuffle the join code so that the old one doesn't work and they can't get back onto the world. That's how it should work. But what has been happening with one teacher is that a student had some bad actors join their world, start causing destruction, saying inappropriate things in the chat, and when they kicked them and shuffled their join code, they were able to get back on anyway. We're not really sure what's happening here. We suspect that those students were either given a share link or the connection ID through a screenshot. So if you watch the connection ID, even when the join code is shuffled, the connection ID stays the same. If you stop hosting and you start hosting again, it's going to be the same for this session, but when I close out the world and then come back in, that connection ID is usually different. So that's one way to do it. But what I'm going to go through now is an increasing series of steps that you can do to increase the security of your Minecraft education multiplayer world, from simple settings changes to actually building a security system in command blocks. So we're going to create a new world, and we're going to create a basic test world. Because whenever we're experimenting with command blocks, we always want to make sure that we know what we're doing in a test world first before we potentially make permanent changes to our good worlds. And before you do anything in your good world, create a backup of it first. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create this test world, but before I hit play, I'm actually going to scroll down a little bit. And you can see that there is this permission level for players who join your world line. We're going to change that, and this doesn't have to be done in the world creation. You can go into the settings of that world at any time and adjust this as well. So by default, players joining the world are given the member permission, who can break and create blocks, use TNT, attack mobs, be inappropriate in the chat. So that's the first thing we're going to change. We're actually going to change the permission level for players who join our world to visitor. So visitors can explore the world, but they can't actually interact with anything. So that's our first line of defense, to make sure that those bad actors aren't able to make those permanent changes. While we're in those settings, if we scroll down a little way, the other thing we're going to do is turn TNT explodes off. You can always turn that back on if you need it, but that's another line of defense to make sure that any bad actors can't grief your world really quickly. You can also turn off fire spread, you can turn off friendly fire. We do want to make sure that show coordinates is on, and I'll explain why in a moment. So now we can go ahead and create that world. So here we are in our new world. And we're just going to use this little blade here to build our security system. For the real thing, you can go as all out as you want. You can build an actual security building to house your security system in. You can just bury the security system under the ground. I just recommend that you don't lose track of where you put it. That doesn't matter. What's going to matter is the commands that I am about to show you. So the first thing you're going to need is a command block. So we're going to open up our command line by pushing /, or you can push enter and then /, which is what I usually do. And in your command line, you're going to type give @s, that means yourself, command block. So it's command_block. And you can see as you start typing it, it's going to start putting suggestions, and then you can just push tab and that should give you your command block. So that's step one. With our command block, we're going to put it on the ground or wherever in your security system you decide it's going to go. We're going to do 3 in total. The first 2 are the really necessary ones. The third is kind of a bonus option. But the first thing we are going to do is we are going to make sure that any bad actors on our world are given an experience that is incredibly boring and does not give them the thrills or the rise that they're seeking. To do that, we're actually going to make use of the tag system. So within Minecraft, you can assign tags to specific players. And we're actually going to go through two options for this. One is if you want to have the system running, and then if you assign a tag to a bad actor, the system will act on them. The other option is to have the system running constantly, acting on players who are not tagged with your authorized tag. There's pros and cons to both. It's really going to depend on your classroom and your play style. I tend to prefer the first way, the applying the tags to the bad actors, because it means I can pre-build the system, and then the first time my students load into the world, they aren't suddenly sent to jail because I haven't had time to add that authorized tag yet. You can also just turn the command blocks off while you do that. So it's really up to you and your preference. I will show you both. So the first thing we're going to do is assume that we're going to be applying the tag to the bad actors. The way that we do that is in our command line, you're going to type /tag, and then the player who is the bad actor, add, and then the tag you're going to use. You could use something like intruder, but if you want to use something that you can type really quickly if you need to act in the moment, we're just going to use bad. So now the bad tag has been applied to me, and it's not going to do anything yet until we act on this command block. So I'm going to remove it really quickly. So to do that, we just change add to remove. And we'll toggle between those as we go so we can see the effects. So next, we're going to go into our command block. And the reason why I have these coordinates up is we're actually going to need them in just a second. So we've got -6, 63, 27 as my coordinates. These are going to be the coordinates of my jail. And again, this can be anywhere. You could build an actual jail and have these coordinates be the inside of the jail facing a sign that says, think about what you've done. You could go with the tried and true 000 and have them teleport into a rock wall at the center of the world. Those coordinates, which ones you pick don't matter as long as you are consistent. So whenever I refer to the XYZ coordinates of your jail, that's what I'm talking about. So for our jail, it's just going to be the middle of this glade. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the command block, and we're going to create the command that is going to teleport your bad actors to jail. So for that, let's give this block a name so we know which one it is. This is going to be the security teleport, well, security TP. And our command that we're going to put in here is TP, that means teleport, and then we're going to use @A, and I always encourage caution when you are using the @A selector, because whenever you're applying a command to everyone in the world, you want to double check and triple check it first. So for this, we're not going to have it act on everyone without a qualifier. We're going to put a square bracket in, and we're going to add tag equals bad, and then end the square bracket. So what this is saying is now this command is going to act on everyone who has that bad tag. And then you put in your XYZ coordinates. So again, we're going to use those ones that are right here in the middle of this glade. So we have -6, 63, 27. The final thing we have to do is set this command block so that it is always running and always looking for those bad actors. There's two things we have to change. First thing we're going to change is we're going to change block type to repeat, so it's going to continue to run that command as long as it has power, and then we're going to change it so that it always has power, so the redstone is always active. So now the security block is running. The other thing that we're going to do so that this is not incredibly infuriating to everyone else on the world is we're actually going to change a game rule. So we're going to type /game rule command block output false. Otherwise, you are never going to stop seeing that message that's saying that the command block is running and acting on bad actors. So once we change that, our command blocks should be a lot less annoying to everyone who is using the world properly. So now this block is set, all we have to do is test it. And for that, I am just going to give myself that bad tag again. So I'm going to tag Sarah E, add bad, adding my bad tag. And now I can't move. I can't do anything right now. Now, I did this close enough to the command block so that I can stop it. You can stop it by changing it so that it needs redstone. So that's going to stop acting as soon as that command runs out. You can also stop it by removing the bad tag from yourself. So again, I would open up my command line and I would remove that bad tag. So there's two ways. So if I make it always active again, I am stuck in jail. I can destroy the blocks that are around me, but it's really difficult to actually move because I'm kind of stuck, constantly being teleported back to facing this direction. And then I'm going to remove that again so we can go on to the next step. So you saw that I could destroy that one block. This is going to be the optional block, because once they're in jail, as long as there's nothing within reach, they're not going to be able to do very much, but we do want to make sure that if we've created a nice pretty jail with some flowers and pets and things, that they can't actually do anything. So we're going to create a second block right here. This is going to change the game mode of our bad actors to adventure. In adventure mode, you can't actually do any damage. So for this one, this is going to be our adventure block. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to change the block type to repeat and always active. And for this one, we're going to put in game mode, adventure, and then that selector at A with the qualifier tag equals bad. So that should change the game mode of any of our bad actors to adventure. And even if they go into their settings to try and change it back to creative, that command block is going to keep running on them faster than they can undo it. So let's give that a test. We're going to add our bad tag back in. All right, so now I can't interact with that command block anymore because I am in adventure mode and I can't break that block. So the only way I can get out of this now is by removing that bad tag from myself. So we're going to change our game mode back to creative. And we've got our first two steps. Now all we need to do is worry about that inappropriateness in chat. But we can fix that too. So I'm going to put down a third command block. And we're going to change this again. So this is going to be repeat, always active. And this is going to be our shush block. So this is going to shush everyone who has that bad tag so they can't say inappropriate things in the chat. So for our command line here, we're going to use the ability command. So the ability command, you can actually run it through the console as well if you need to temporarily quiet a student who needs a timeout. So it's ability, and then the player you are targeting. So we're going to target me. Ability is going to be mute, true. So this is going to mute that person. So if I apply that to myself, if I try and type something in the chat, I can't. The chat is disabled for me. So I'm going to unmute myself again. So we toggle between the ability turned on and turned off using true and false, and we're going to put that in the command block. So again, we have ability, and then that selector at A tag equals bad, mute, true, and it's going to be repeating and always active. So those are our three security blocks. That's our security system. So now if I apply the bad tag to myself, I can't move, I can't break anything, and I can't chat. So let's remove that tag from myself again. I'm just using the up arrow on my keyboard to scroll back through what I've already typed. It just makes life a lot easier. All right, so that is how you build a command system that acts on bad actors. So it's always running. All of your regular players are not tagged with anything, but if anyone starts causing trouble, you can give them the bad tag and the security system will start acting on them. There's one final thing we're going to do to make sure that it's going to happen no matter where you are in the world. Depending on where you build your security system, if players get far enough away from it, there is a chance that the chunks that the security system is in are going to unload from the game's memory. Minecraft does that to save on memory because it's an infinite world and you don't want to have infinite blocks loaded in all the time. We're going to do what's called a ticking area. And we're going to draw this rectangular box between here or so and here, so that these command blocks are inside of that imaginary box. So we're going to do that by grabbing the coordinates. So the first one I'm going to write down is -3, 63, 25. That's the first corner of our box. So that's the lower left corner. And then the upper right corner is going to be on top of this block here, -9, 64, 23. I don't think the Y values are typically necessary, but I like to just use best practice when I'm defining my box coordinates. So now we're going to add our ticking area. So in your command line, you're going to type ticking area, add, and then you have to define the corners. So again, you can see in the second line, you could add a circle with a radius with that middle command block as the center. But again, I like drawing my rectangles because I like knowing exactly where my ticking area is. And if I do a circle, it's really hard for me to see that unless I physically run a circle command so that I can see. If I'm using coordinates, I know exactly where that is. So ticking area add, and I'm going to put in those two coordinates. So the first one, -3, 63, 25, and then the second set, -9, 64, 23. I'm going to give this ticking area a name. So this is going to be, let's call it security. And we can set it to true so that it's always loaded in. And there we go. We can see in our line that ticking area is in use. So now our security system is always going to be running and it's not going to unload. So even if our bad actors load in really far away from the security system, it's still going to find them and act on them. So that is how we create a security system that is not applying itself to any of your regular players, but will apply itself to any players that you tag with that bad actor tag. Now I'm going to show you how to do the opposite. So if you want to tag all of your authorized players and have this running so that anyone who is not authorized is automatically teleported to jail, it's a very, very easy switch. So now, instead of having our intruder tag or our bad tag, we're going to have our authorized user tag, or OK. And for that, it's going to be tag, username, and we can do @A if all of our authorized players are online to just hit everyone with this authorized tag at once. And we're going to add OK. Again, it could be authorized, but OK is easier to type. So now I have the OK tag. Anyone who logs into the world after me does not have it. And if someone has lost their privileges in this world, you can always remove that. And then the security system will act on them. So now that we're using the OK tag for our authorized users, we have to tell the security system that it's going to act on the users who are not part of that group. So for that, we're going to go back into the command block, and it's a very, very easy change. We're going to change bad to !OK. And that exclamation point is really important. If you don't put it in, it's going to act on all your authorized users. You want to add that exclamation point so that the @A, that everyone selector, will act on everyone who does not have the OK tag. Everything else in the command stays the same. So we're going to do that to our other two blocks. So we're going to change our shush block to act on everyone who is not authorized. And we're going to change our adventure block to do the same. So now to test it, we're going to remove our OK tag. Tag, me, remove, OK. And now I'm in jail again. I can't break anything. I can't type in the chat. The only way I can get out of jail now is to give myself that OK tag again. So tag, me, add, OK. So that is everything you need to create that security system. Now, obviously, if you have bad actors showing up on your world, one of the things that I would really encourage is that when you are hosting the world, if you see those bad actors, before you stop hosting or kick them off, grab a screenshot of those usernames, because even if you don't know who they are, even if your school is using a set of numbers for student privacy, IT is going to know who those usernames have been assigned to. And this is something that deserves a follow-up with their teacher, with administration, possibly even revoking of their Minecraft licenses. So do be sure to keep track of who those bad actors are if they do show up on your world. So finally, to sum up, to have a security system that is acting on bad actors, you're going to tag those bad actors with a tag called bad or intruder. You are going to use your security teleport to tag everyone at A who has that tag to XYZ, where those are the coordinates of your designated jail. To quiet them in the chat, ability at A, tag equals bad, mute true. And then to make sure they can't destroy anything, game mode adventure at A, tag equals bad. To flip it around and have the security system running on all not authorized users, you're going to tag all of your authorized users with the tag called OK or good or authorized. Your security teleport is going to be acting on everyone who does not have that tag, so be sure to put the exclamation point in front of it. And then again, XYZ are the coordinates of your jail. Shush is again going to act on everyone who does not have the OK tag. And then the game mode is going to be set to adventure for everyone who does not have the OK tag. And the final reminder, set your command blocks to repeat, always active, and that will make sure that they are always running. So I hope this was helpful in making your Minecraft multiplayer world a little bit more safe and a little bit more secure.